Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Let's Play Every Day on this MLK Day. Tim McNiff along with Willi Myles and Tanishka Mhaskar. We have Darrell Thompson on the calendar for today, but no DT as of this point. We hope he has not met any ill will or anything like that, that he's going to be okay. And send the all call out to him. Hopefully we'll hear from him soon. Well, you know what? As I say that, he's in the car. Oh my.
Hey. Did you send me the wrong link?
I did send you
he
the
went
wrong
to the first
link.
one.
I
was somewhere else.
I can't. So tell us what's going on right now.
My better half is driving us to Nebraska right now. So she's going to push the first hour here. She's had 6 pots of coffee, so we're ready to roll.
And she's okay with you doing this for a half hour while she's driving?
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
No, she's not.
Yeah. She's a big podcast fan. She tunes in every episode.
I'm sure.
Cool.
Well, good to see you, and I'm glad you guys made it down there and went. Because the last time we were a little afraid for you in your travel conditions. Was the ride down to Iowa a little bit?
On the way back from Iowa was a little challenging, so it was just not. It was one of those typical kind of Minnesota, a little bit white knuckle type of drive, but not terrible. You could always see the road, and it was basic. You just had to go slower than we'd like to go. Obviously, especially nowadays. Yeah.
Well, happy MLK Day
safe, so
three of you, and glad to have all three of you with. We're going to start, if we can, talking about the A topic, which has been for 7 days now, the Minnesota Vikings. It seems like a month ago, but it was only last week at this time. We were just finding out that the Vikings had decided not to retain both Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman. But as the kind of the proverbial onion, we keep getting layers pulled off, and different people keep adding more context to this. And now we find out that the two of them had gone months without speaking. Let's talk about that for just a minute. Any business you're in, any friendship that you have, if you go months without talking to somebody, that's not a friendship. That's not a business. That's a problem. How can anyone have thought they were going to operate and be successful in an atmosphere like that? That's beyond me.
Yeah, like we knew Cousins and Zimmer didn't get along, but the Spielman layer was just like when the three like kind of main guys in your like organization don't really like see eye to eye, you're never gonna succeed. And like all throughout August, like training camp, Zimmer would randomly take shots at Spielman, being like, "Oh, yeah, I'm worried about the depth on this roster," when like asked about COVID replacements and stuff like that. And like at that point, without knowing this, I mostly just thought it was just Zimmer being Zimmer and his like grumpy self. But to not talk for months is like really unhealthy just for them and for the organization as a whole. And I just don't know how you can like do that. Like, how do you just not talk? Like, I just don't get it.
No. Communication's important. It's interesting. I saw that last night, and to hear that they don't communicate just means that to me it means, even when I was getting ready for the show today a little bit, there needs to be a pause to make sure that they don't we're hiring the head coach, and we're interviewing head coach candidates, and we're interviewing general manager candidates. It needs to be like, let's slow down, because it does make sense to hire a general manager first, allow the general manager to hire the head coach, allow the head coach to hire his staff versus just go out and just interview a whole bunch of people. It just makes sense. This is a long-term decision that shouldn't be, let's just go hire some young, super duper exciting offensive coordinator that, I don't know, Byron Leftwich or the guy from Green Bay or whomever it is. It needs to be thought out, everything from culture to, the questions that they answer. So, I think it's unfortunate that they didn't communicate at all, but I can see it happening. We see it in relationships, we hear about people who sleep upstairs and downstairs for maybe a whole lifetime. So who knows?
Yeah, I didn't get that either. But I it's not like I have not seen that before, and that's and it's toxic. You know what I mean? It's toxic for the players, for the staff, as well as for just anybody who's involved with them. You know what I mean? It's not a good thing. You know what I mean? And that's not a winning combination. That's not even a playoff combination. That's nothing. That's I'm mad at you. You're mad at me. We're mad at each other. We're not going to talk. So therefore, I'll do my job. You do your job, and let the chips fall where they may. and that's kind of where they were at, and it's bizarre that it went on, and no one said anything out loud. You know, it was just whispers, but somebody should have came forth and said, "Hey, here's what's going on," and then they should have let, you know. I hate that when that kind of happens at the end, and then all of a sudden it comes out, and then you're like, well, we've been rooting for this team the whole time, and not realizing that the GM and the head coach hadn't even talked for 2 months. You know what I mean? That's stupid.
Yeah, it's completely stupid. So watching these games this weekend, and there's so much to unpack. We could just spend the whole time, I think, talking about the games from this weekend, from the officiating in Cincinnati and Las Vegas. Oh my gosh. To the Buffalo Saturday night, not attempting a field goal, a punt, or anything until they took the knee at the end. You know, no team had ever gone wire to wire without doing that in a game. I mean, to exercise your demons against a team that's dominated you, wow. Yeah. To yesterday, and I'm two more, and anybody can just go with whatever. First of all, watching the Tampa Bay game, watching Antoine Winfield, and just saying, here's this guy who's the son of somebody who played for your team, played at the university in your backyard. You drafted Jeff Gladney in front of him. And then somebody goes on social media going, yeah, there's Spielman did that, you know. And I'm like, tell me Zimmer didn't want the corner. The guy collects cornerbacks like some people collect stamps. You can't tell me Zimmer, they didn't talk and agree on that pick. So that's another reason why they should have got picked and why they should be disqualified. And then there's the end of the Dallas game against San Francisco. And I'm like, cross Kellen Moore's name off the list, because if he's any way associated with what happened at the end of that game, he's out. Go.
Do you think that that's a super knee-jerk reaction to that one? I just can't. I mean, you got to know the ball has to get to the official. And you watch Larry Fitzgerald and at the end of the game sprint the ball to the official. Because the official does set the ball. You can't. We're not playing backyard football with me and you and T-Bone. You know, we're actually playing pro football. Get the ball to the official. Get the ball there. And there's a chance it would have worked if you would have slid and sprinted to the official. You might have had 2 seconds or 3 seconds versus putting the ball down. The center runs up there. You know, the play call is the play call. But I mean, it worked. You know, it did work. I mean, give you the shot.
It didn't work though. It didn't work.
Because you didn't get to the official.
You didn't get.
Hell of a risk.
You don't. That's a hard play to call. And to me, as soon as he took off running, I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I was so confused.
What? You got 2 chances to throw the ball in the end zone right now. 2. You had 14 seconds. You have 2 chances. I don't know any offensive coordinator would make that other than whoever made that call, because you're asking a quarterback to run. If there's open space, he's just going to keep running. He doesn't have that button in his head to say, get down, you're running out of time, you're not making it. And then you got to get you're outrunning the ref. The ref don't chase you down. I mean, it was like, and it was 11 guys on that field on offense that didn't know to get the ball to the ref. 11. And then they argued at the end, the ref has to touch the ball. End of story. That's on the whole team. That play did not work whatsoever. The only way it worked, he ran all the way to the end zone. That's the only way that play wored.
If they ran it 2 plays earlier or something, maybe. But like Willi said, with 14 seconds left in the game, no.
No timeout.
The one that bothered me was actually, like, that one was just weird, but the one that bothered me was the one after the fake punt where they left the special teams unit on the field, and then they ran the offense on did all of that just to get a delay of game penalty. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, I was so confused. I would have been pissed if that was the Vikings.
14 penalties, 23 penalties in the game, 14 on the Cowboys. And then they do that at the very end. I just am shocked that we woke up this morning and Mike McCarthy has not been fired yet. I just was like, the fact that Jerry Jones hasn't fired him yet stuns me.
It's just so their lack of discipline defensively, especially with Gregory, the multiple penalties on him yesterday. I was like, that last play is like, if it would have worked, it would have been brilliant. It didn't work, so he wasn't brilliant. But all the penalties on the defense, specifically on Gregory, it just seems like he doesn't. I have a hard time with extra arrogant athletes, and we're going to talk about the tennis player a little bit later on. But when you're extraordinarily arrogant, and it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm like, can't do that, So he made some penalties, and it just made no sense.
I agree with you, brother.
Oh, so we've got a game tonight,
hard to swallow.
Arizona versus the Rams tonight. We do know that San Francisco will play at Green Bay. I'm really interested to see the condition of San Francisco's defense with Warren and Bosa,
Yeah.
whether they'll be ready to play or not. But San Francisco is built for playoff football. I mean, I really feel like, right? I mean, the field gets pinched, points become a premium. Well, unless you're Kansas City, points become at a premium. And Kansas City, I guess, is meant for 21st century playoff football. But, man, that'll be interesting when they play the Chiefs. Nobody talks about the Titans. They've got the Bengals. And so that's all next week. Does anybody want to add anything to the NFL playoff stuff that I haven't touched on?
I did. I just wanted to point out that, like, we were talking about Kellen Moore and how the Vikings are interviewing him, but they're also interviewing the 49ers defensive coordinator. And I thought what he did yesterday was very, very, very impressive. Because that Cowboys offense, like, statistically ranks like number one in basically everything. And they got like 4 sacks on them. They rushed for they held them to like 17 points, I think. None of the receivers got over 100 yards. And in crunch time, without Bosa and without Warner on the field, they did what they had to do to get the stops. So I think that he's a kind of underrated head coaching candidate that we are interviewing. So I'm excited to see what he does versus Green Bay this weekend.
Yeah, and my fear of Packers going to another Super Bowl is off the charts anyway. So yeah, and here's DT. This is my happiest note from the whole weekend was a rumor that Russell Wilson wants to explore his options, and that made me so happy because I know once the diva in Green Bay hears that Russell Wilson's going to be getting courted by people, she's going to at least want to have those conversations because his ego will not allow him just to stay in Green Bay without having those conversations. Am I wrong?
And the season's not over yet. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think Green Bay is still alive. So we're still talking about this season and the Green Bay Packers. I mean, next season's another season. Whether or not Aaron Rodgers decides he wants to be a Viking or a Jet or a Giant or a Buccaneer or some other team, then we'll see.
Go, Russell. Have all your dates. Let Aaron eye you enviously. All right, let's transition to the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves did what they were supposed to do. They got a team without Steph. They got a team without Draymond Green, and they beat them. And coming off a couple close losses, was very happy to see that last night. Very happy to see them play well down the stretch. Jalen Noel back in the lineup, 17 after the missed game against Memphis. Your guy Cat, 26 and 11. And Malik Beasley, who has been in a horrific shooting slump lately, came alive at the right time.
Fire.
Is this just like the progression of we're just still watching this team develop?
Yep, absolutely. I mean, look, they didn't have Steph Curry last night. That's fine, but they're still a competitive team with or without Steph. They're not the same without Steph, but you still have to. Those teams will come into your house and try to snatch. They'll try to snatch pillows, man, and they did not do that. And Cat and those guys, they showed up and put it down. And I think that you're looking at a team now that is starting to look. You look down their bench. Their bench is very, very competitive right now. They're coming in the game and they're putting up points. They're getting rebounds, and they're not jacking around right now. I think bench has got a really cohesive group of guys that are playing together right now, and I like what I see. I like what I'm seeing. And I'm hopeful for this team right now. Very hopeful.
I love it. They have roles, they have a rotation, and they got like responsibility. So it's really fun to watch versus just watching the Wolves because you have nothing else to do. So it's exciting to watch. They're competitive. They're fun. They've got some alphas. They've got some positive energy. To win 4 or 5 games in a row. We never talked about the Timberwolves won 5 games in a row before.
No.
So it's an exciting time, and I think that Coach Fitch is doing a tremendous job.
Yeah, no, definitely. The bench, I mean, like the last few games was kind of rough, but getting guys going again, it's really hard to beat them when they're all going like that.
And I don't know the last time I've ever talked about the Wolves coach Well, I've said his name as many times as I've said it, where you're saying that you can literally see his program at work. And it's just like Darrell just said. I mean, these guys know their role when they come off, and they sit there, and they just not there to travel with the team or sit on the warmer chair. When they go on that floor, they know they're expected to perform. You know what I mean? And that's what they're doing, because when they get an opportunity to play, you need to play. You know, either you're playing to be on another team next year as a starter, or you looking to take a job here. So here's your opportunity. And I think that's what he's got instilled in them now, is that you're not just a second string player or a backup player. When I call your number, you need to get out there and put up some numbers. You know, do what you do. You know, that's why you were drafted or picked up. So, and that's what they're doing. That's what you needed to see that before.
The other thing is you just don't see on like a lot of teams is these guys really seem to like each other. I mean, it seems like whenever someone succeeds, you see everyone else just so genuinely happy for them. And the message is always sort of like the same, like with Beasley. They go, well, they keep telling me to shoot. I mean, they keep telling everybody to do what they do. I mean, I've been on teams where they were like, no, you aren't getting the ball, or he sucks or whatever it is. And they just don't, they seem to be a very likable bunch.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. You can just see it in the passion they play with. And even my favorite joke most recently is the fact that D'Angelo Russell plays defense. I mean, there was a reason he got run out of the Warriors and some other teams are like, this cat, all he wants to do is launch threes, do a nice little ball handling, get to the elbow, shoot the ball. He's like, he's playing defense. He's grasping the concept. He's being I don't know if he's really, but hopefully he's being a mentor to some of the younger players on the team. So it's a different vibe, a different culture completely. I look forward to seeing what Coach Fitch can do with even more time and another draft, another free agency round underneath his belt. I think that we could build something to make a legitimate playoff run, not just be happy just to have a playoff game in the Twin Cities.
Well, he comes from just quickly. He come from a team that really didn't concentrate on playing defense. They were just outscored everybody, and so he was just, you know what I mean. And when he come here, but that's not really his game. He's good at it, but your game is defense. And now he's finding out, if I play a good defense, those shots are going to come. But I wasn't brought here to be your leading scorer. I don't think anybody told him that when he came to the Wolves. You know what I mean? We already had that guy. We need you to come in and play a role. And now that he's accepted that role, and he's very, very good at it, better than anybody I've seen in a long time. But he's still getting those points too now. You know what I mean? You play, you get rewarded on the other end for doing what you need to do down on the other end.
Well, I love and I agree with the appreciation being shown to Finch, but I expected to come here today and lead the gushing about Ben Johnson. I mean, I just can't say enough about how this guy gets this team to play. I go back to Darrell. I go back to, and Willi, you would have been here at that time too, when Clem Haskins first started with the Iron Five. I've never seen anything that's approached where one coach is like, you're the only 5 guys I got. You're going to play every minute of every game, and that's just the way it is. So deal with it. And the whole state kind of rallied around those guys and everything. And this hasn't quite happened to this extent, but their bench is so limited. Darrell, you talked about that. You had seen it firsthand, but yet these kids play so hard and so smart. And even when they're down, to go on a 31-11 run against Iowa in the second half and get within 3 with $1.50 to play with the team that they did, I hate to talk about moral victories, but I feel like that's a moral victory.
What's funny is, Fran McCaffrey is not huge on complimenting other people. He paid a huge compliment to Ben Johnson, at the press conference after the game. He just said, you know what he's doing with, and he said, I'm not downgrading or knocking the places, but they're his guys, but they're also like leftovers, not that's a kind of a mean thing to say, but I mean, theirs are not the big time players, the 4-star, the 5-star guys. He said, he's doing a tremendous job with the personnel that he's working with right now, with COVID, with injuries, with the transfer portal, and with him not, even being in the job for an entire year. So it is an incredible job that Ben Johnson's doing at the University of Minnesota.
Absolutely, he is, man. I think that, and not only is he down players, he's down coaches. He's out coaching by himself. He's got to see everything. You know what I mean? And that's, when you're a head coach and you're down a couple of assistant coaches, man, that's 4 other eyes that ain't seeing what you seeing. You know what I mean? You got to look for everything, and you got to do all the coaching, all the talking, and I give the guy credit, man. Like I said, and you're right. He's dealing with leftover players, and eventually, like I said, the same thing I said about the women's team. You give this guy a couple of years, get some of his recruits in there, and if he's got these guys playing like they're playing right now, imagine what it's going to be when he gets his own squad there to play. I think they just need to hang in there, and they're going to win. They're going to beat some teams because I think they're tough, and they I knew that at some point. When they did that big comeback, you just get tired. When you're the only 5 guys out there, man, you get tired when you make that big run like that. And then they just, when the other team's got 8, 9 guys and you're the 5, you get run down. And they just ran out of steam, but they put up a good fight and they go down swinging. And that's what I love about them. They don't, you ain't gonna be no cakewalk. And that's what I love about this team right now.
Well, we get a chance to see where the Minnesota Wild are today. Still shy a couple of players of full complement, but they will be tested. They've got a 2 p.m. game at Colorado today. The Wild come in having won 3 straight, coming off a 7-3 win over Anaheim on Friday night. But they run into Colorado, and the team that was expected to be where they are, which is on top of the Central Division, expected to be the favorite for the Stanley Cup from the West. They've won 7 of their last 8. They are on a 13-game home win streak. The last time they lost at Ball Arena, November 3rd. So we've got a test coming today for the Wild. Tanishka, how much of Friday night's game did you see, and how excited were you by what you saw?
Yeah, I was really excited by Friday night's game because one of the things that excited me most was just watching Matt Boldy because we all knew how talented he was, but it kind of sucked when he got injured in that last preseason game, and then we didn't get to see him play in Minnesota or Iowa for a little while, and then getting him up here and then him getting the goal and I think he got his first assist. So both of those things have just shown his development pretty well. So I'm excited for him. I feel like Fiala finally has a good line mate that he's been stuck playing with. He's just gotten unlucky with everyone that he's played with so far. So that's going to help him too. So I think it was the 4 fastest goals or whatever. So that was really funny. But for Colorado, it's going to be really tough to just win that without some of the best players that are still out. But then they've surprised and won a lot of games that I didn't think they would in the last week without some of these guys. So I think it'll be tough, but I really hope Kähkönen plays at the level that he's been playing at, because that's the kind of play we're going to need out of a goaltender to just stay in this game.
Willie and I are definitely Team Capo.
Absolutely.
And Jesse and Alexis are not, one more so than the other. But yeah, this is an opportunity for Capo to make another statement today.
Yeah, he's been playing really well since Talbot's been out, so I just hope that continues. That's going to be really tough against the Avalanche's high-powered offense. I think they still have the most goals in the NHL.
They do, and they're back to their hole. They were missing an element that I was hoping was still going to be gone. It sounds like Alex Goligoski will be back today. It doesn't sound like Joel Eriksson-Ek will be back quite yet. Darrell, came the news yesterday that Kai Thomas has announced that he is transferring to Kansas. I'm I know he's from Kansas, but as a running back, is that a good career decision?
I don't know. That's a really tough one. And I heard about that and I read a little bit. I was like, but I get, he's going to be the guy there. And there's something to being the guy. He's going to get a lot of carries, going to get a lot of touches. And obviously he feels like he's an NFL caliber running back. And he probably is an NFL caliber running back. And he's not going to get featured here at the University of Minnesota. They got Muhammad. They have Trey Potts. We have a whole plethora of running backs, coming back next year. So he wants to go where he's going to be the man. There's doubt he's going to be the man there. He's going to get 22, maybe 30 carries a game. So he's going to be the guy, and sometimes that's what it's about. You're going to get the number of carries, and that's what you want. So he made the best decision for him to hopefully go on to the NFL.
Man, I don't know. I mean, nobody knows more than you. You need an offensive line. You need to be, a team that's got some athletes around you.
Yeah, you want that. But Kansas does it good. I mean, they get guys that come back, and they have a lot of guys there that have played other places, so they make run. They also play in a tough conference too, so they got some challenges, regardless. But he wants to be featured. He's going to be featured. Yeah, he's hoping for his offensive line. He's hoping that they're not always behind too. I mean, that's one tough place when you get behind and you play at someplace like Kansas, they start chucking the ball all over the place. Then you're just a blocking dummy, and you got these 235-pound linebackers sprinting through your shoulders as well. So it can be you might have a few long afternoons. Some of the Iowa States and the Baylors, and some of that could be some. There'll be some long afternoons too, but hopefully he gets his carries and he gets over that 1,000 to 1,200 yard mark, and he gets a chance to be an NFL player. That's his goal.
Right, and I don't know how. I don't think it was a bad decision at all. I think that's where he's from. I think they recruited him before, offered him a scholarship, and now he goes back there. But like Darrell said, I mean, you want to be the guy. If he stays here, he's 3 at best. You know what I mean? And you want to be out there, 2 down, 3 down. That's where you want to be out there, because that's where you're going to get the touches. And he wasn't going to get that in Minnesota. And you're looking at another couple of years of sharing the ball with somebody, and that he doesn't feel like he doesn't have that kind of time. You know what I mean? And you want to make a splash, you go to Kansas, and and you got your home crowd, your home fans there, and I think it was a good decision on his part. Go there as opposed to anywhere else, at least where he's going to be the number 1 guy.
I get all that, but you got to have a line, right? You got to have a team that can compete. And in Kansas, I'm just like, really, Kansas? Okay, maybe trust me, they did his homework. Real quick before we go, the mixing of sports and politics. Going there, don't know that Novak Djokovic is back in Serbia. He did not get allowed the opportunity to play in the Australian Open. He's become sort of the poster child for the anti-vax movement, whether he wanted that or not. There he is. And now comes word today from the French Open and the French Open Tennis Administration saying, you know what, we have rules in place. And unless those change, he may not be able to play here either. And I think what happened in Australia was the government had a set of rules, and the Australian Tennis Federation were like, just come, we'll take care of it. We'll get you in. And that didn't happen. The French are saying this in advance. So a lot could happen between now and May. And I hope to God we're all in a better, safer place where this doesn't matter. But I mean, where are we on this whole thing? I mean, just go get the shot, or just not believe in the science that much, or I don't know.
You just got to play by the rules. It's kind of, it's simple, and we talked about discipline, and I don't, and it's also just such a tremendous revenue. And you're thinking about someone who's got a chance to win their 21st or 22nd, Grand Slam. You think, well, I probably, I'd say take one for the team. We're talking about the Mayo Clinic, University of Minnesota, Fauci. We're not talking about we're talking very, very legitimate sources are recommending you take the shot. You're not going to fall over dead or lose your, I don't know, whatever Cardi B's brothers, cousins, nephew, whatever happens. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, he's going back to 2020.
Yeah, exactly. It's his decision, though, and it's almost funny. It's funny. It's sometimes I have to actually laugh, because it's like, what can you do? The guy, he's made it. He's made it his mission. So be it.
Yeah, everything has consequences, and these are his consequences. And look, if at the end of the day, if you want to play, you got to play by the rules. And you don't show up in another country where they have a set of rules, and the tennis association don't make the rules for the country. They make the rules for tennis, but you need to play within the country. And so those rules that the tennis association have is null and void, and that's what you're going to be up against. If you don't want to take it, don't take it. Don't get the vaccine. I don't care. But then don't go and whine and complain about people are keeping you from doing what you love to do. No, you're keeping you from doing what you love to do. This is your choice. And there's other countries that allow you to come in and play. Go there and play. But if this country says no, then it's that simple.
2,000 people died yesterday. That's that simple.
That simple.
Yeah, just move on.
And here he is, 34 years old, tied with those other two guys, for the total. And I don't know how many more chances you get. I mean, look at Serena's trying so hard to get those last couple that she wants and needs, but Father Time's undefeated, right?
Right, exactly. And Nadal, you hear what Nadal said? Like he said, look, he's a great player, but tennis is going to survive without him. Tennis is going to be here. This game's going to go on without me, without Federer. You know who was there before? Bjorn Borg. You know who was there before him? McEnroe, Connors. These are, you go back to the history of tennis. Tennis has always gone on forever and ever and ever, even after this guy's done. And he's coming to the end of his road anyway. Just like all the rest of them. Like he said, all of us was coming to the end of the road. And there's new guys coming up, taking our place. So he's wasting his time trying to fight a system that he can't win against. And Australia stood their ground, and kudos to them, because like they said, their whole country is locked down, and if he let him in, you just open up a whole can of worms at that point. You don't do special occasions just for him, a special circumstances,
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And here we are. All right. Thank you all for participating, especially on this holiday. I want you to enjoy the rest of your day. Darrell, your wife appears to be passing every vehicle on the highway, so I'm a little concerned about you. You're okay?
We just let the sheriff go by. So yeah, she's a pedal to the metal type of gal, So that's,
oh my God, I got one of them. I got one of them too, man.
Right on.
A little data compassion.
We got 3 radar detectors going in here. We're just
because you can't wait to get to Nebraska. Can't get there quick enough.
I got one quick question for you, Darrell. So, like, do you I see you're wearing that, but do you have anything protecting your skin from that? Do you have like a gopher T-shirt on underneath it, or you just let it touch you raw?
I keep the little gopher, the thin.
Oh, okay. Because when my nephew was over at the Gophers, I always wore the gopher stuff on the top, but I always had husky stuff underneath so my skin wouldn't get that rash.
It's rough. It takes a little extra.
For the alumni, if the alumni catch you just go, yep, no, I'm good.
We're solid.
Here to support.
All right, you guys, that'll do it for this episode of Let's Play Every Day. We encourage you to check out our good friends at Northern Lids. Darrell, did you see Willi's custom-made Northern Lid knit hat?
Here, let me get one for you, buddy.
I saw it on Facebook. I saw something with Willi doing. I mean, for a guy who only works 20 minutes a day, I mean, he's got more,
right?
More gear. He's got his own logo on his hat. I'm jealous. Yeah.
Gosh, me too. I mean, Northern Lids can't do any better than that, right? Nick Gross.
Got to be the best version of yourself. Got to be the best version of yourself, even if you have to wear it on your head, baby.
I need one of those.
You guys enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining us. And remember, this is Let's Play Every Day. We'll be back tomorrow with 3 new panelists. Take on the sports talkers of the day. Until then, when given the chance to get in the game or stay on the sidelines, well, you know what to do. Get in the game and play.